All right, today is May 18th. It is the second day of Microcycle 20, so week 20 of the training program. Today I'm not going to run. My soleus is still pretty tight from the other day, and I'm going to go back through my notes and figure out when this actually started because I think it's been close to 6-8 weeks that this thing's been bothering me, and I did take a full week off, so the fact that it's still giving me problems means I might need to adjust some of my training regimen, so I'll be looking at that tonight. And I'm still working on the marathon route, so those two things I'll have updates on later this week. But today, since I'm not running, I'm just going to roll it out, stretch. I figured I'd talk about something unrelated, part of my training plan, but unrelated to current situation, and that is music while running. There's a lot of ways you can run with music. I see a lot of people out running, carrying their phone, and they either have Bluetooth headphones or they have the wire connected directly to their cell phone, and whatever floats your boat. But I want to show you what has worked for me and what I think the best way to do it is. First of all, I have tried the phone thing with the armband. I hate it. I can't stand it. You get so sweaty, especially on a long run. The armband slides, and even if you tighten it, then you're cutting off circulation. You got something on one arm that's not on the other arm. So I eventually went out, broke down, and bought one of these waist pack things. They're real small. They expand to fit your cell phone, and if you want to carry some other stuff, and it works pretty well. But because they're elastic, they bounce as you're running, and your cell phone weighs a lot. So it actually wore like it wore a raw spot on the small of my back from rubbing up and down, and I'd move it over to my hip and it would rub a raw spot there. So I attached all these safety pins to it and actually safety pinned it through my shirt to my shorts. And so now I've got the pack moving up and down with my phone in it, pulling my shirt up and down, pulling my shorts up and down. And so needless to say, it's not my favorite way, but if I have to carry a phone around, this is still, to me, better than strapping it to my arm or, wherever else you could put it that's not symmetrical to your body, because you want to keep the same amount of weight, obviously, on each side of your body, especially for a long run, because even a few ounces can add up to a big difference in your gait or the swing of your arms. So, waistband works okay if you have to carry your phone, but if you can separate yourself from the phone, which means putting your music or your podcast or your audiobook on something else, I highly recommend the iPod Shuffle. And I've had one of these since they first came out, 2005-ish. I won one. 256 megabytes. That is maybe 3 albums worth of music. And but I loved it. And then I bought the next generation one, which is this little tiny thing. It's got a little clip on it. It's got a forward, back, volume up, volume down, play, pause, shuffle, unshuffle. It talks to you when the battery's low. It says the name of the song, the name of the album if you want it to. And that's it. No screen or anything, but you just learn where the buttons are. I mean, there's only, like I said, there's like 6 buttons on it. So what I do, I'll show you how I do it. I've always run with a headband, regardless of running with music, because it keeps the sweat out of your eyes. And when I had longer hair, those of you that remember those days, it held the hair out of my face. So I was already running with a headband, so I figured, well, I might as well use it to attach accessories. So I fold it up like that, just so it's, as thin as possible, but out of the way. Pull the hair back. Tie it tight. Then you take the headphones first. So you can use any kind of headphones. I used to use the ones that just came with the iPod Shuffle, which is those white classic Apple ones. They work fine for running. The problem is when it's raining out or when it gets wet, stuff gets in the screen of those little earbuds. So I've tried the over-ear ones, and those kind of irritate my ear. So I like the in-ear ones, but the ones with the rubber changeable piece are nice because they can get wet, they can get sweat on them and stuff, but it doesn't affect the sound. It's nothing more annoying than running and having one side cut out or one side get a crackle to it. So anyway, you take these, make sure you got the correct side, right and left, and you feed them down through the top of the headband, like so. Give yourself a little bit of a loop and put them in the ear. So this loop is critical because you want to have a little bit of, if it's too tight, when you pull it tight later, it'll pull it right out of your ear, or if there's any tension on it, just over the course of running the bobbing of your head, it'll pull itself out. So you want a little loop up through the headband, and you plug in your shuffle. It's a little clip, so you clip it to the headband on the back, somewhere where you can reach it comfortably with whichever hand you like to use to control your music. Pull the excess back, fold it up nice and tight, and then stick it in the headband. That's it. No wires, nothing hanging down, nothing clipped anywhere. You can run, you can jump, you can do whatever you need to do. You control your music with just the press of this button. Volume up, down, back, forth. There's even a little rubber on my particular shuffle. I bought a little rubber case for it. Can take off and clean and stuff. But I had one before this that I used for 5 or 6 years. Put it through the wash, got wet. Never had any issues with it. Eventually the battery wasn't holding out, so I got a new one. And this is the second one I've had, and I've had this one for probably 6 or 7 years. So they're not super cheap. I think they're about $100-$120, but 2 gigabyte one, they last for years and years and years. So highly recommend that. The other way to go, and the way I've just started going now that I have the new Garmin watch, is this can also store music, and it's Bluetooth. So if you get yourself a nice pair of, not a nice pair, but a regular pair of Bluetooth earbuds, like these are made by JLab. They got a little controller on them. You can also clip these to the headband in the same way that I just did the other ones, and then your music is on your watch, Bluetooth, and you're good to go. I have never owned unwired earbuds. They have the Bluetooth ones that are literally just the buds that you put in your ears. They're like $300, and I will never buy a pair, but I actually think the wire is kind of nice for running because they tend to fall out of your ears sometimes, and it's nice if there's a wire holding it there instead of it going off in the grass or the woods or being lost forever, especially at that price. So go with the cheaper ones. These were $30 or $40, and obviously these kind of headphones are $5 or $10 at Walmart. And an iPod Shuffle. So with those, and if you happen to have a Garmin watch with music, that's another good way to go. That's my recommendations for running with music, and I've recently started to listen to audiobooks too. That's a new thing for me, but I find that works well for running, especially a run where you're not trying to concentrate too much on the run and you can think about what's being said. I think that's all I want to talk about today. So if you have any questions about music, you can comment. If you have any questions about anything else, probably not the place to comment because I don't know much about anything other than running. So talk to you next time.